Football is a game of inches, of seconds, of moments so small that they decide the fate of legends forever. On the 6th of July 2026, in Dallas, one of those moments arrived, and it didn't just break a nation's heart. It closed the final chapter on one of the greatest stories the game has ever known. Portugal were seconds away. Seconds away from extra time. Seconds away from giving Cristiano Ronaldo one more breath, one more shot at the only trophy that ever escaped him. And then, deep into injury time, it was taken away. Mikel Merino stepped off the bench and fired Spain into the quarterfinals with an injury time winner. Portugal 0, Spain 1. The cameras panned to Ronaldo, and in his eyes the whole world saw it. The end of an era. But one question will haunt Portuguese fans forever. What if they had survived? What if Portugal had held on for just a few more seconds and given their aging king one last stand? This is the story of the night an era ended. Part 1. The backstory. To understand the weight of this night, you have to understand what it meant. This was the 42nd meeting between two European giants who share a border and a rivalry as old as football itself. Portugal against Spain is never just a game. It is family, pride, and history colliding. These two had written unforgettable chapters before. It marked the third World Cup meeting between them, following a Spanish win in 2010 and a breathtaking 3-3 draw in the 2018 group stage. And more recently, they had met in the final of the 2025 UEFA Nations League, where Portugal triumphed on penalties after a 2-2 draw. So when the draw sent them crashing into each other in the round of 16, the whole world leaned in. For Spain, the European champions, it was a chance to prove they were the tournament's team to beat. But for Portugal, it was something far more emotional. It was about the man wearing the captain's armband, in what everyone quietly understood was almost certainly his final act on the greatest stage of all. Part 2. The inherited struggle. Cristiano Ronaldo is 41 years old. Let that sink in. At an age when almost every footballer has long since retired, he was still there, still leading his country, still chasing the one dream that has always eluded him, a World Cup. This is the struggle Ronaldo has carried his entire career. He has won everything else. League titles across multiple countries, Champions Leagues, a European Championship with Portugal in 2016. He rewrote every record, scored more goals than anyone believed humanly possible, and dragged Portugal onto his back for 2 decades. But the World Cup, the biggest prize of them all, was never his. 5 World Cups he came to, 5 times he left without it. And now, in 2026, time itself had become his final, undefeated opponent. Portugal, too, carried a burden. They arrived as one of the most talented squads in the world. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and a golden new generation. But talent had never quite become World Cup glory. After a shock-opening draw with Cape Verde, Spain roared to life. Portugal's path was rockier, a surprise draw against DR Congo, a win over Uzbekistan, and a draw with Colombia that left them second in their group. They were wounded coming into this game, facing a Spain side that had not conceded a single goal all tournament. Part 3. The Rise. And yet, when the whistle blew, Portugal did not crumble. They rose. And so did their king, one final time. Against a Spanish team unbeaten in 34 consecutive matches. Against the European champions who had scored 8 goals in 3 games, Portugal stood tall. They defended with their hearts. They threw their bodies in front of every shot. And more than once they came agonizingly close to breaking through. There was the moment when Nuno Mendes had a deflected effort cannon off the crossbar in the first half, inches from glory. There was Bernardo Silva, rising to meet a wonderful cross, flicking his header onto the roof of the goal when he really should have scored. And late on, João Neves met a Bruno Fernandes delivery with a diving header that flew agonizingly wide. This was Portugal at their bravest, and Ronaldo, at 41, still chasing every ball as if it were his first. For long stretches, it looked like they might do the impossible. Hold the tournament favorites, survive the 90 minutes, and drag this epic into extra time, where their legend might write one final miracle. Part 4. The Peak. And this is where the heartbreak lives. This is the moment that will be replayed in Portuguese minds forever. The clock was ticking down. Extra time was so close you could almost touch it. Both teams were exhausted, locked in an attritional battle where a single mistake would decide everything. Portugal were surviving. They were seconds away from the reset they desperately needed. The reset that could have given Ronaldo one last half hour of magic. Then Spain's manager Luis de la Fuente made the changes that broke the game open. Ferran Torres slid a pass to fellow substitute Mikel Merino, who coolly slotted the ball past Diogo Costa. Injury time. 1-0. The dagger that ended an era. Now imagine the alternative. Imagine Portugal holding on for just 30 more seconds. The game goes to extra time. Ronaldo, running on pure will, gets one more half hour. Tired defenses break. Set pieces become golden. One header from the greatest goalscorer in history, one penalty, one moment, and the entire World Cup bracket could have looked completely different. Because we have seen it before. Portugal beat this same Spain on penalties in the 2025 Nations League final. If this game had reached a shootout, history whispered that Portugal knew how to win it. Part 5. The Future Chapter. But football does not deal in what-ifs. It deals in what happened, and what happened was final. Spain marched on to the quarterfinals, still unbeaten, still chasing their own destiny. For Portugal, it was another heartbreak in a long history of tournaments that promised everything and delivered pain. And for Ronaldo, the cameras told the whole story. At 41, he had almost certainly played in his last major tournament, and potentially featured in his last ever game for his country. The tears in his eyes were the tears of a man who knew the door had finally, quietly closed. An era that began nearly a quarter of a century ago, a skinny boy from Madeira who became a global icon, was ending in the Texas night. Not with a trophy lifted high, but with a quiet walk off the pitch, and a whole world rising to its feet to say goodbye. The conclusion. So what if Portugal had survived to extra time? Maybe nothing changes. Maybe Spain still finds a way, because champions usually do. But maybe, just maybe, those few extra seconds would have handed Cristiano Ronaldo the stage for one final miracle, a last dance. A fairy tale ending to one of the greatest careers football has ever seen. We will never know, and that is exactly why this night will haunt Portugal forever. Not just because they lost, but because they were seconds away from a moment that could have rewritten history and given a legend the ending he deserved. The King's dream is over. The era has ended, but his story will be told for as long as this game is played. And somewhere, a young boy watching will lace up his boots, look up at a poster of Ronaldo, and begin to dream the very same dream. Thank you, Cristiano, for everything.